Well, good morning. It is 60 degrees in Arkansas, which is great. Guys, I wanted to start out showing you more of the DIY mods I've made to the Pelican Catch 120. And I'll start at the front and we'll work our way back. First off, this is the camera mount, as you can see. That'll be the one that I'll be having shooting over my shoulder while I'm doing videos. And I made it on the stick that I can remove it. It floats. That camera will definitely be with the back on it, so it'll be waterproof. And that way, if I even want to do some underwater shots, I can do so while I'm fishing. But let's start off right here. So I've made this. It's just going to be something that I can loosen, untie, hook to a tree limb if I wanted to, and then I'll be able to anchor off on the backside back there. And also, it'd be great if someone has to tow me or anything like that. I put a cleat here on the front, so this is the front side. Here, I put this Gopro Mount, so that way, if I wanted to, I could actually shoot in that direction too, while I'm shooting from over the shoulder. And this is nothing, fancy. I just put the stick-on type on there. It's on there pretty good. It vibrates a little bit, but it's not going to be that noticeable. Back here, this is something that a lot of folks have complained about on this kayak, that this strap is an assist strap, and this strap is just a little too short for some people. Now, I'm quite tall, but I went ahead and added this to it with a piece of PVC pipe, so that way I'd have some way to pull myself up when I'm trying to get up. Before I go any farther back, of course, I showed you guys these are for the paddle, and they sit right in there. I added those, and that way they kind of clip, and I made that out of Kydex. But I ordered this thing. Now, this is supposed to be a 4-inch hatch. And they lied. Let me tell you right now, they lied. Let me show you something. Open this thing up and get in here. And as you can see, my hand, I've measured it. It's 4 inches across. I can't even get my hand in this thing. That is 3 inches across. Of all the things I've always ordered or ever ordered on Amazon, I've never had a problem with a single item or purchase. But them folks right there lied. And I could have returned it. I'm not going to. I'll use it later. I've got a place for a 4-inch hatch. I'll get one. I may use this for some kind of container. Main thing I wanted this for is I was going to put my fishing license, my registration, my boat, and everything in here, and not have to ever worry about it, and would always have it with me. But that's not going to happen. Not with this one anyway. Then you go back here. I've made this. And this is my drink holder. And it fits right in the scupper hose. Now, I had decided not to do anything with my scupper hose. I did not want to put any pressure on them for any reason. A lot of kayaks has scupper hose, one here and one here, down through the boat, and people use it for their cart. I am not going to use the scupper hose for anything unless it's something like this that puts very little bit of stress. I can adjust this up here if it's in my way, and then back here, and it'll be between my legs, so it'll be easy to get a hold of. Now, this is some stuff that I had purchased for the steps on the RV. You can see, there they are. And this will be great. This will help me with being able to keep a good grip and not slip if I happen to be barefooted or wearing some kind of sandals or something there. I won't fall out of the boat. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to cut it, divide it out, put one piece here and one piece here. Haven't got to that yet. Of course, I did add these cleats for my anchor system. And then I showed you this before. This is a DIY pole holder that I made that fits into the Scotty mount. This is my controller for my trolling motor, and we'll get to the back here just in a minute. It's not wired up yet. This part is a mount that I had. You may have seen them before with the suction cups, so you can mount your GoPro on the windshield or on the side, on your fender of your truck, and go on the outside. This is the pole holder, the Scotty pole holder portion, the post. I took it off, and I've took this off of the suction cups, and I've mounted it here, which gives me something for adjustment. Now, I like this, and also too, the fact is it just comes out when I want it. If I want to, I can move it over there if I want to run it left-handed. But if I'm sitting here and I'm paddling with my paddle, this is going to be in the way. So I've made this to where you can turn this, adjust it. I can lay it down flat. I can stand it up high. I can rotate it back here, plumb out of the way. I really like this, and it worked out good. This is actually the long handle. This thing was this long. I took the head off the trolling motor. I took the big long extendable extension handle, took it down and shortened it down to here, and it gives me my settings. And then now all I've got to do is to go forward 5 speeds, or I can go in reverse 3. Now, I did not glue this together, and there's a reason for that. Let me see if I can get it apart here, okay? And let me rotate this to show you, like so, and like that. There we go. Okay. All right, now I did not glue this. Let me get my readers on so I can see what I'm doing. It is tight, but I did this intentionally so it wouldn't come apart. And what I've done is I've used that plasti dip. I've took it and sprayed this, and that tightened that up. But as you can see here, there's the switch. Now, they're all color coded. I don't know if you can see it, but you know, white, red, yellow. So all the wires, all they've got to do is plug back in, and then I'll be able to run them right back into the trolling motor on the back side. Now, I have not come up with any type of steering for this on this trolling motor. And you'll see a lot of guys out there that has steering for their trolling motors. They'll hook it to their foot pegs. They may have a stick here that goes into the scupper hole with 2 leaders going back. But I'm thinking in my mind, I'm not sure that's going to be necessary. And I'll tell you why. I am going to use the trolling motor to go point A to point B so that I don't have to paddle a long distance. And once I get where I'm going to fish, I'm not planning on using the trolling motor. I'm planning on using the paddle just so I can be quiet and ease around. So I think no larger than what this kayak is, with that trolling motor running back there and in a stationary position and have the trim set right so it's going straight, that I should be able to take this paddle and stick it on either side of this kayak and use it as a rudder. I made these tethers. There's a pretty cool video on YouTube how to do this. The inside of this is, of course, this is paracord, but on the inside is weed eater string. And you take it, curl it up, put it around a stick, put it in boiling water, and this is what you come up with. Hooked a few of these on here. That way, in case something does come out, I won't lose it. Did the same thing with the crate. I have the strap that holds the lid on, but I've also tethered this into the kayak so that if for some reason I was to roll, this box will stay with the lid on it and stay with the kayak. Still have the battery box, haven't got the battery in there yet, but I'm going to. Now, this is the part I'm working on now. This is going to be the actual mount for the trolling motor. First thing you're going to say is how are you going to get to your hatch, Rick? Well, I didn't necessarily want the extra storage. I mean, it's great to have extra storage. It is. But I can't reach that, this from up there anyway, unless I get out of the kayak. So my intent is to store something in here that I might need in an emergency, but don't need while I'm fishing. But I am going to make this where it's really easy to remove. Whatever I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put it in here before I put this on. This should come off and on very easily. I'm going to have a bolt. Of course, I've got to cut the shaft. I'm going to have a bolt here, and I'm going to have a bolt here, and with a hand turn piece, I'm probably going to make it out of PVC or something to where I don't have to have a wrench. I can just twist this off, slide this rod out, this whole portion will come off. Rigidity in this kayak, it flexes. Well, let's do it right here. There you go. You can see that flex. That's because this large portion is something they could not avoid because they had to put this in. It had to be this big or this wouldn't have fit. So they did as much as they could to put curves and bends, because anytime you put a curve and a bend into something, it's going to make it more rigid. Let me give you an example. Like corrugated metal, like on the roof of this building. That metal's fairly thin, and if it was flat and had no corrugation in it, you couldn't walk on it. It would just collapse. But since they put the corrugated edges in it, it makes it more stable to where you can actually walk on that. Well, the same thing happens here. I noticed this portion of the kayak, you would think that's aesthetics, that they wanted to do something to make it look good. I don't believe that. I believe they put this here to make this portion of the kayak more rigid. And it is. I mean, this thing it's rigid. And even more rigid back here. So I've taken these Scotty mounts, and as you can see, here's some plastic. I haven't cleaned it up yet. I've got to sand it down. I've got some heavy plastic that is some of that plastic that I molded the other day, or melted and flattened out of some Schedule 40. And I'm going to have one of these also inside as a backer plate. And then I'll be able to do that through the hatch. And that was the main reason I put in the hatch, so that way I could reach in here and be able to put actually a bolt with a nut through that and sandwich this portion of the kayak between these two plates with the Scotty Mount mound on top to give it more stability, because the main thing is this is going to support it fine, but if you was to hit something with that motor and put this all in a bind, you could bust your kayak, or you could actually rip it out if you're using nothing more than just screws. So, but I think I've taken care of that problem too. As you can tell, this rock's fairly easy. Let me show you what I'm going to do. Alrighty. Here's another piece. Whoa, thing's heavy. Okay. I'm one-handed here. Here's another piece. Let me take this off. This is that Schedule 40 that I heated up and melted and flattened out. I'm going to make this plate like so. It's going to be bolted on to this PVC. I'm going to heat this right here and bring this up at a 90. When I bring this up to a 90, I'm going to take this piece of cutting board that I bought at the Goodwill store for $3. I've got another piece of it. That is a chunk of plastic. It is heavy and it's durable, and it's going to give me something good to clamp to, but it is brittle. It is brittle, but it's going to be backed against this, so eventually this will be like so. Oh, I can't do it. But anyway, because it's not balanced, or this is not bolted down. But once this comes up, it'll be here, and then I'll be able to put this piece of angle iron in here. And this is actually a piece of aluminum, and bolt that. That'll give me a little more, you know, support and rigidity. And then I'll probably put a piece of treated lumber here, so that way when I crank in the trolling motor, it will hold fast. But what I'm hoping is this. Let me get this back off again. Once this is all put together here, and the trolling motor is hanging on it, as you know, most trolling motors has a lock that you unlock, and you can tilt the motor up and down. Well, I don't want it locked, because if it's locked and I hit something, I know it's gonna give me some flex here, but I want that trolling motor to be able to cock up, because when I'm going in the forward position, it's going to be applying torque down on it, pressure down on it, that it should stay down. The only problem I'm going to have is when I put it in reverse. Now, I'm not planning on doing reverse a lot, more or less just using reverse to stop when I'm traveling. Like if I come up to something and I see a log or something, I want to be able to stop, I can throw it in reverse real quick. But what I'm afraid is when I throw it in reverse, it's going to kick up a little bit and try to come out of the water. So my plan is to put a bungee cord on the shaft and hook that bungee cord underneath this plate. And that way, it may flex out a little bit, but it's still going to be flexible enough. If I hit something, it's going to take and, you know, pull up on that bungee cord. I don't think that, you know, I'm not really concerned about damaging the trolling motor. I'm more concerned about damaging the kayak. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed what I've done so far, and I will definitely get back with you as soon as I get it done. Thanks for watching, guys.